Yeah, hi there. These comments are for SD, and I am Michael from OTC, OnlineTOEFLCourse.com, and you're one of my 30-day TOEFL speaking bootcamp course students, Hua, and unfortunately, you got 25 on the last TOEFL exam that you've taken. You've been using my course for about a month. You went to the rescore, you got it rescored, you lost. They gave you exactly the same score that you had. So let's listen to your practice test here. Let's see if, let me really try to figure out what's going on here. So 25, it's hard to say exactly why they gave you that score. Remember that you have the speech rater, you have a software program that kind of listens to your speech, and then you have a human rater that looks at it. So they're looking at a lot of different things in there, but basically delivery, then grammar, vocabulary, then topic development to see how you responded to the actual assignment. Okay, let's listen to your practice test. So let's listen to the whole thing one time, and then I'm going to figure out how to score it the second time. And any little thing, I'm going to try to see what might be holding you back here. Okay, here we go.
This lecture was from a business class and talks about two strategies that salespeople use to eliminate customer concerns. And the professor mentioned the first strategy that salespeople use is to address a specific characteristic or features about the product. And for example, the professor mentioned if a customer inside an electric store and wants to buy a laptop, but the customer has a concern that it is expensive. The salesperson can explain to the customer how fast the laptop is and how worthy to get the work done in less time. Eventually, more likely, the customer will buy this laptop. And the second strategy that salespeople use is to use the product in front of the customer. Again, from the same example inside the electric store, if the customer has a concern how portable the laptop is, the salesperson can show and demonstrate to the customer how easy to transport and to move this laptop. And so these two strategies will eliminate the customer concern. This lecture was from a business.
Okay, so I think that their score is pretty fair. I think a 25 is fair. You definitely have some delivery problems. You have some word stress issues in there. You might even have a language issue here or there. And even with topic development, you can include, maybe embed more voice markers in there to acknowledge the information is coming from the professor. All right, so I'm thinking when I'm looking at it, you definitely have some problems with pronunciation, right? But overall intelligibility remains good. So I think that's definitely a problem, which is in the 3 area. Okay, let's listen to it one more time.
This lecture was from a business class and talks about two strategies that salespeople use to eliminate customer concerns.
Instead of saying this lecture was from, just say in the lecture the professor explains blah blah blah. So I would use present tense verbs in there. So in the lecture the professor explains 2 important points, blah blah blah, something like that.
And the professor mentioned the first strategy that salespeople use is
the professor mentions. So you're not clearly pronouncing that grammatical word ending there, mentions.
to address a specific characteristic or features.
To address, not address. So that's a word stress issue. You have at least 2 problems with word stress in this response.
About the product. And for example, the professor mentioned if a customer inside an electric store and wants to buy a laptop, but the customer has a concern that it is expensive.
Has a concern, not concern. So that's your second problem with word stress. So the speech rater is listening to it. They're listening to your response, the software program, for linguistic features. They listen for pronunciation, they listen for grammar, vocabulary, and those kinds of things. And I think the speech rater is going to pick up that you're saying some words not naturally, like concern instead of concern. And you're saying address instead of address. So I think that speech rater is going to have some problems with some of those words you're pronouncing.
Expensive. The salesperson can explain to the customer how fast the laptop is and how worthy to get the work done in less time.
How fast and then how worthy? I don't think that's the right word there. Listen
A
to it.
laptop, but the customer has a concern that it is expensive. The salesperson can explain to the customer how fast the laptop is and how worthy to get the work done in less time.
So how fast it is and how effective the laptop will be in getting the work done more efficiently or something.
Eventually, more likely, the customer will buy this laptop. And the second strategy that sales
You might say instead of eventually more likely, maybe say consequently, the professor explains that the customer is more likely to buy this product.
people use is to use the product in front of the customer. Again, from the same example inside the electric store, if the
Again, the professor refers to the same example in the electric store. I don't know about electric store. I don't think that's the right word there. How about electronic store, maybe? That might be better. The electronic store, I'm thinking of something like Best Buy. So, electric store, I don't think is the right word there. So, that's another problem. That's a vocabulary issue. That's and any little problem they're going to focus on, right? And that's going to cause trouble.
customer has a concern how portable the
Has a concern.
laptop is, the salesperson can show and demonstrate to the customer
And then you say shall? Do you mean show?
the product in front of the customer. Again, from the same example inside the electric store, if the customer has a concern how portable the laptop is, the salesperson can show and demonstrate to the customer
Can show and demonstrate. Show, you're saying chow, but you mean show. But show means demonstrate. There's no reason to use both of those words there. So I would just say the sales associate can demonstrate.
how easy to transport and to move this laptop. And so these two strategies
How easy it is, or how easy it would be to transport the laptop. I would say it like that.
will eliminate the customer concern. This lecture was from a business
No, I think the score is fair. I mean, you might not want to hear it, but I think that you definitely have some problems with word stress. That's one thing you can look at. So, in the pronunciation part of my course, review that lesson. You must control your word stress because word stress makes it a little bit more difficult to concentrate on what you're saying. So I think you also had some problems with word choice, vocabulary. For example, we went into the electric store. I would probably say electronics store instead of electric store. So sometimes your word choice isn't the best. You're having word stress issues in there. You can even put some more voice markers in there to acknowledge the information, and that can help improve your performance on this speaking task. So, unfortunately, the score that you got, I think, is a fair score. I'm going to put you again between 24 and 26 points out of 30. So, I think you do have a little bit you need to work on. Now, I know that you paid for a TOEFL lesson. If you have any free time tomorrow, I have pretty much free time all day and also on Friday for a lesson if you want to do that.